Welcome to Firearms of America. Today, as you guys can see, I have another pair of Salomon boots or shoes for review. But this is a very special review, not just any kind of Salomon. This is the brand new, finally, the brand new X Ultra 4 GTX hiking shoe. Now, I am waiting to see when the mid-size one is gonna come out, but so far we are getting this hiking shoe version. Let's start the review. So, to give you a brief overview, excellent hiking shoe, absolutely phenomenal. Currently $150 on Amazon. The link is in the description below. GTX waterproofing, as usually, amazing outsole, unbelievable comfort, and of course the very good Ortholite inner sole. You probably already noticed the quick lace system, but we will get into all of that in detail. So if you do have time to watch all of it in detail, let's get into it. So, as some of you already know, this is not just your regular shoe or boot review. This review is specifically for my ultimate survival boots section. Basically, if this was the shoe, the hiking shoe, you were hiking, or maybe you were sitting in a house and you had the shoe and something bad happened. You needed to leave your house and then walk, run for miles, I don't know, go through all of these survival situations, do whatever is necessary to survive. Maybe fight, do some climbing, just a lot of different stuff, right? Through different terrains. Would this be a good shoe to survive in? Well, how do we make the judgment? We make the judgment based on 8 different criteria. Let's begin with criteria number 1, one of the most important ones, comfort level. Now, whenever it comes to the comfort level, in order to test all the shoes, all the boots that I review on this channel, I do a very equal, for all of them, without exception, I do a 3-mile run and then a 5-mile walk, no pauses in between. Sometimes it's really hard, sometimes it's easy, but it's the same for everything I review on this channel. And then I continue wearing it for the rest of the day. And the total wear time is usually between 7 and 8 hours. Usually closer to 8 hours. Now, like I said, these shoes, these hiking shoes are absolutely phenomenal whenever it comes to the comfort level. Definitely one of the most comfortable hiking shoes that I have reviewed on this channel. And really, I'm referring to them as a hiking shoe, but you can really say that these are trail running shoes as well, because running in these shoes is absolutely a breeze. No problems at all. There are, of course, several factors that contribute to this amazing comfort level. So let's start with the first one, which is the weight. And this is size 10. Let's see how light or heavy this is. Make sure that you can see. There we go. And this is 13.7. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Now, to give you kind of a reference number, right? So you know where I'm going with this and what I'm usually looking for. If you want something that you can run in, you can walk in for extended periods of time, and I mean for extended distances, whenever I say that, I usually mean 10 plus miles a day, right? This is what I mean. So if you want to be able to do that without feeling fatigue from the weight on your feet, don't get that confused with, regular fatigue from running or from walking for 10 miles in a day. You will be fatigued regardless because, you're putting in effort, you're walking, your legs will be hurting, whatever. But I am referring specifically weight on your feet, your shoes, obviously. You want something under 20 ounce. So that's kind of like a landmark. Under 20 ounce, considered more or less lightweight. The more under 20 ounce it is, obviously the better. 13.7, well under 20 ounce. That's why they feel very lightweight. That's why it's very easy to run in these shoes. And that's why I said that I think this, if you want to use them as trail running shoes, I think this is a fantastic option. Honestly, I will probably include them in my top 5 or top 10 2021 trail running shoes because this is just a fantastic option. There are, of course, a few other factors that contribute to the comfort level. I briefly mentioned one, the inner sole, and the inner sole looks like Salomon didn't really do any changes from X Ultra 3. It's the same Ortholite. It is shaped the same way. It has the same amount of padding actually does kind of look a little bit different and a little bit more shaped here at the front where the toe box is. I do like it. It feels good. It doesn't have a lot of cushioning, but it has just enough to give you some protection from the impact, you know, if you're running. Now, Ortholite, another thing cool about Ortholite, it has those antibacterial wickering system that kind of absorbs the moisture. You know, if you're running in the hot weather, your feet are sweating, and yeah, this is good. This is pretty good. Once again, that kind of leads me to say that it's a great option for as a trail running shoe. You know, trail running shoe, not just hiking shoe. But there are a few other things I wanted to mention here. One thing is, whenever you remove the inner sole, there is no other cushioning layer that goes underneath, so keep that in mind. Overall, not a lot of cushioning, not that bad, however. Of course, you do have some padding here in the shaft to make it a little bit more comfortable. The tongue is kind of soft, and you have this kind of back of your ankle, whatever, to soften it out. Pretty good. And of course, in the toe box there isn't much, but because the material is kind of soft here, it feels pretty good. It feels pretty soft. Nothing much, however, whenever it comes to the overall body of the shoe. Keep that in mind. No cushioning there. One last thing that I wanted to mention whenever it comes to the comfort level is the flexibility of the bottom sole. And here, as you can see, it is very, very flexible, in spite of it being fairly, you know, on the thicker side to give you some protection, which we'll talk about later. But it is still very, very flexible, so you can definitely run properly in these shoes without any problems, without stressing too much, you know, without putting stress on your heel, on your ankles, or on your knees. You can definitely run properly. So overall, on the comfort level, I think fantastic job, Salomon. A few things I personally would change whenever it comes to the comfort to make it even better is, besides this inner sole, I would also implement a thin layer of some jelly padding. And sometimes Salomon, they actually do have a few shoes, boots out there that do have that, and it makes it a little bit better, a little bit more cushioning. I prefer that. And also, I would probably use some lining on the inside to give you a little bit more cushioning in the main body of the shoe, but especially here in the toe box. Now, that would probably add some weight. Not probably, would definitely will, but at the same time, I think that, you know, it would contribute to the comfort level. I would sacrifice, you know, a little bit lightness for some more cushioning. All right, so let's finish up with the comfort level. Let's move on to the criteria number 2 now. Proofing and protection. Now, like I mentioned, these are GORE-TEX. Ta-da. Now, GORE-TEX is a fancy waterproofing technology. When I say fancy, I say fancy, well, for a few reasons. First of all, because most of the more or less serious people, serious about hiking, they prefer GORE-TEX waterproofing technology. And also because GORE-TEX is pretty expensive technology. That's one of the reasons why the price is kind of steep, $150, which we'll talk about later. But yeah, whenever you see GORE-TEX label really on anything, yeah, expect the price to be a little bit on the pricier side, right? But nevertheless, GORE-TEX waterproofing technology, it works very, very. I never had any kind of problems with GORE-TEX. Basically, it's a special kind of membrane that is implemented into the fabric, and besides being, you know, giving waterproofing qualities to the fabric, it does not take away from lightness, as we noticed, and doesn't take away from breathability, which is pretty cool and pretty important too, especially with hiking shoes, boots, trail running shoes. Very, very important, right? Because if you are, you know, hiking through woods in a very hot weather, you know, you want something breathable, waterproof but breathable. Yeah, so GORE-TEX, it does just that. One thing I wanted to mention here is, if you do want to save money, Salomon, they do have their own waterproofing technology, which in my experience worked just as good as GORE-TEX. It's called CSWP, ClimaSense waterproofing. That's Salomon's own technology. It works, again, in my experience, just as good. But nevertheless, you know, most of the people, at least on my channel, in my comments, you know, they do prefer GORE-TEX. Another thing that I wanted to briefly mention here regarding the waterproofing is, I'm not really a huge fan of waterproof hiking shoes or trail running shoes in general. I think there's just not enough shaft to give you anything sufficient whenever it comes to waterproofing. Here it's less than 4 inches, 3.5, a little bit more than 3.5 inches. Not a lot. So you step in a puddle, a little bit of a splash, you get some water inside, that's it. All the waterproofing is just wasted, wasted. All this fancy GORE-TEX waterproofing is wasted because there is no shaft. Now, whenever it comes to mid-size boots, okay, now you have, 6 inches of, shaft, so that starts to make sense. But again, this is just my personal kind of take on it. All right, I'd rather have something that dries up quicker whenever it comes to shoes and trail running shoes, hiking shoes and trail running. All right, so let's talk about the protection now. Great job, Salomon. They do great job with their X Ultra, both three. Quest, all of them that are always great job with the protection. With this toe cap, I think it's fantastic. It's still kind of soft, so don't expect a heavy rock to fall on your toe and you be protected. Not really, but still, whenever you are hiking on a rocky road, that saves you a lot of unnecessary fatigue. Very, very good job, Salomon. And I personal experience, I was hiking through Appalachian Trail in the very, very rocky area through Smoky Mountains, and I smashed my toe so many times wearing my X Ultra 3s mid-size, but it saved my toe because there is this nice protective cap. Now, besides the protective cap here, there isn't really much anything anywhere. Keep that in mind. It's soft, so that's where you get all the lightness. Obviously, no shaft because this is no mid-size. The heel is kind of reinforced a little bit, and you do have this sort of design going. Kind of looks like carbon fiber. It's not really carbon fiber, but it looks like it. And it does add a little bit of reinforcement, which helps with the overall support. But at the same time, it gives you a little bit of the protection as well. And of course, you have the very, very famous Contact Grip outsole, which is it's a thin but very hard layer of rubber that gives you very good protection from the bottom. All right, so done with the proofing and protection. Let's move on to the criteria number 3, quality and the design features. Now, Salomon, they have been doing boots, outdoor gear forever. They know what they're doing whenever it comes to that sort of stuff. And these are brand new on the market. So if you go on Amazon right now, the link is in the description below. You're not gonna find a lot of reviews, obviously, because it just came out. But if you check out their Ultra 3X, GTX, whichever, or XA Pro, or Quest, or whatever really from Salomon, similar to this, you will find thousands and thousands of reviews with almost 5 stars, pretty much everything. So people do really do love Salomon hiking shoes and hiking boots. So they know what they're doing whenever it comes to that stuff. Now, whenever it comes to the design features, I usually talk here about the lacing system. Here it is a quick lace. I love quick lace system. It's very, very good. It's very easy to put it on. Basically, all you're doing is you're pressing this little button right here, and then that's it. You open it up, you put your foot in, you grab onto this piece, and you tighten this. That's it, done. Now, one minor complaint, because, that's why I do reviews, because I find complaints with everything. Here is you can see there is a pocket inside of the tongue. This is where you're supposed to stick in extra lace so that it doesn't mess around while you're hiking or while you're running, whatever you're doing. A little bit of a complaint here is because this is located so low, when you tighten it, it kind of goes over it, right? So you tighten it like this. You see what I'm talking about? You tighten it like this, and then you start rolling this thing in order to put it into the pocket. And but the pocket is actually tightened, so now you can't really. So you kind of have to tighten it underneath. You get the point, right? So how this thing can be solved? I think this can be easily solved by making the pocket start higher up, or maybe putting these hooks a little bit lower, but that would give you a little bit less support. I'd rather have them have a pocket higher up. Or you can just stick it in this kind of gusseted tongue pocket, whatever, over here. as a solution. But other than that, fantastic lacing system. Very easy to put it on, put it off. Because this is the ultimate survival boot review, obviously that definitely counts as a plus towards, you know, because you want something in a survival situation, you want something that you can put on really quick. Or take it off quick. I don't know, for whatever reason. You never know. But putting it off, definitely important, fast. So that's pretty good. And I wanted to point out here, there are some plastic tubes on the inside of these fabric hooks. It makes it much easier to slide through for the strings. So pretty good. Let's move on to the criteria number 4 now. Outsole traction and stability, very important. Now, like I mentioned, the outsole here is the famous Salomon Contact Grip. I mean, really, this is, you know, if there was absolutely one absolute best outsole that I had to select, this would be it. Because it's very simplistic, it's a very good balance between aggression and flatness, and it's really everything you need. Now, in order to test the outsole, every time I do my runs and walks to test boots, I do those on a variety of different surfaces. I start on older asphalt by my house, and then it becomes a newer tarmac, which they laid recently. And then I go, there's a lake by my house, so I do dry sand, wet sand, and then I go into the trail surfaces, which is kind of a mix of sandy and then more of a leafy, sticks, you know, type of stuff. And then I go into the rocky road. Then of course there's some wet grass, dry grass, and I'm finishing up all the time with marble and tile. Like I said, this outsole is phenomenal because it's really nicely balanced to handle good on literally everything. Everything you throw at it, it handles very good because it has a balance of flatness, simplicity, and at the same time, very aggressive grooves. So like on some very slippery surfaces like wet grass, this handles perfectly. On the sand, on dry sand, it doesn't dig in and you don't get stuck. But it has some flat, you know, nice flatness to it, so you're still doing good on the sand. On the wet sand, there isn't really too much complicated weird stuff here where the sand can get stuck, so you lose your traction or the shoe becomes heavier. You don't have those problems. Also, I'm a fan of these ridges here that were implemented. They kind of help with climbing if you're climbing a rope or climbing a tree. Overall, fantastic outsole. Now, 2 surfaces that I didn't mention here would be snow and ice. Really not much point to mention those because these are really not winter shoes. They're not designed for cold weather or anything like that. There's absolutely no insulation. You'll definitely be cold in these. However, just if you're just curious, this will definitely handle very good on the snow. And right out of the box, unless we're comparing it to the metal spikes on your snowshoes, this really is probably one of the best things that you can have. So overall, fantastic outsole. But let's move on to the criteria number 5 now, the temperature. I kind of briefly mentioned, you know, the cold weather. These are not designed for cold weather. Although they're waterproof, there's really not much point of this waterproofing because there is no shaft. There is no insulation, so you're gonna get cold in these ones. But in the hot weather, where I tested them in here in Florida, doing the run, it was absolute breeze. They feel very light because they are light, and because the GORE-TEX waterproofing technology, they are very breathable. So did not overheat at all. Perfect. And even if you're running in some 110 degrees weather, even if you do overheat and your feet sweat, remember you have the antibacterial Ortholite inner sole. So great job there, Salomon. Let's move on to the criteria number 6 really quickly now. The sizing. Whenever it comes to the sizing, I always recommend getting a half a size bigger for your hiking shoes, your trail running shoes, your hiking boots, whatever kind of boots really. Military boots, tactical boots, work boots. Get half a size bigger than your normal shoe size. So if you're wearing your normal sneakers, if you're wearing your, what else is there? Dress shoes in size 9, get yourself 9.5 for your hiking things. What that does is it gives you a little bit of that extra space in the toe box, and that can save you a lot unnecessary fatigue on your hikes. It's just a really good advice that I got from one of my friends who have been hiking way longer than I, and that since then it was just a game changer. So keep that in mind. Let's move on to the criteria number 7. Balance of application. Now here, if this really was your ultimate survival shoe, right? Not boot, because it's not a boot, but if it really was, something bad happened and this is what you had in the house, or this is what you were wearing, would this be good for your survival? Honestly, if I only had an option to have a shoe, not a boot, whether hiking shoe or trail running shoe, for my survival, I wish this is what I had. I really, really do wish this is what I had, because these are just overall fantastic. Unbelievable comfort level, excellent stability and support, excellent outsole which can handle literally anything you throw at it, easy to put them on and take them off, which I don't know why it would be matter to take them off quickly, but you never know, right, what your survival situation might require. But overall, just fantastic shoe. Now, if I had an option for a boot, we will see the mid-size. I'm waiting for that mid-size to get that in the mail and do review on that, because I think that would be my ultimate survival boot of 2021. I have a feeling. And just to remind you, the ultimate survival boot of 2019, yes, 2019, actually was the Salomon X Ultra 3 GTX mid-size hiking boot. Yes, so I have a lot of hope. I have a lot of expectations at the same time from the midsize. We will see. But let's finish up with the very last criterion for this one. Is criterion number 8, price. Like I said, $150 currently on Amazon. The link is in the description below. Of course, it's definitely on the pricier side. But one of the things to keep in mind is, first of all, is GORE-TEX. That kind of adds up probably at least $30-40 to the price. And these are brand new. They just came out, so keep that in mind. If you really want to save some money, maybe see if they have a non-GORE-TEX version first, and maybe wait a little bit before buying them, because the prices definitely will go down. Now, you can buy the Salomon X Ultra 3 GTX for much cheaper now than whenever they just came out. One cool thing that I wanted to point out here is that they do have a few different colors for these, and they actually now finally have a white. Yes, I know it's not practical for a hiking shoe or a hiking boot, but you gotta admit, white is a really, really cool looking one. Check it out. The link is in the description below. Just click on the white one and see how cool it looks. Hopefully they have a white one like that for mid-size, because that's what I'm getting. But thank you very much, guys, for watching. I always appreciate your time. Let me know in the comments below what you think. Would you consider this as your ultimate survival shoe? Because it's not a boot. Would you consider this as your main hiking shoe, or maybe a trail running shoe? If you have any requests for reviews, you can also drop them in the comments below. I always look out for those, and if I come across stuff, I do that as a priority. So thank you for your time, and I'll see you guys in the next video.